Guys, one of the most powerful lines I've ever heard is Les Brown when he delivered in a speech at the Georgia Dome. You are the one. You are the one that's going to make your true happiness, fulfillment, peace, success, whatever form you want, happen. It's all up to you. And we have to look at ourselves as being the one. Because ultimately, as Stephen Covey said, we are all just a one. But we are one that's unique, that's individual. So we got to change the paradigm, the thoughts, the way we look at ourselves. We're not mediocre. There's nothing mediocre about you. We're not like everyone else. You have to start changing that thinking process in your mind if you're going to truly be happy and fulfilled in your life. You have to realize you're the one. You're the one that's going to make it happen. It's all up to you. It's not going to happen without you. Have a great day, everyone.
I believe in energy. I believe in inspiration because inspired, in spirit, the opposite of that is kind of dead, right? So I believe in being inspired, but I'm a strategist at my core. And, if you're inspired and you run east looking for a sunset, I don't give a damn how enthusiastic you are, how positive you are. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So I'm a strategist first, but I really do believe that people have got to look at their life and say, as much as I want great strategy, I need a great philosophy of my life that's going to make me fulfilled. Right. If you're fulfilled, like you said, you mentioned earlier, if you were with your friends and you guys weren't succeeding, but you're having a damn good time with this camaraderie, it's still worthwhile. And you can find a way to succeed eventually. But what the hell is success? It's hitting an expectation. And I always tell people, man, trade your expectations for appreciation, and it's a whole new world instantly. Yeah. If you can appreciate this moment, if you can't find ecstasy in this moment, in a conversation with a friend, and looking in your wife's eyes, being with your children, going on a run, if you can't find ecstasy now, I'm here to tell you, more money, more people, more love, more business, more anything is not going to give you more ecstasy. Right. If you can't do it here now, you're not going to do it there when you got more. So why not do it now and have a rich life right now? I tell people, money, that's one thing. Like having financial abundance, there's skills, that's a science. But wealth, it's a decision. It's like you could be wealthy right now. I live in Fiji a good portion of the time. There are these villagers there. They're the richest people I know. They're happy, they laugh, they love, they don't give a damn about the economics. Other people say they're poor. When I first went there, I was trying to do things for them. They're like, what are you talking about? I'm so happy. Wealthy people come over from the United States and they go travel around and try to figure out what to do. And they're going to spend 9 years to do this and this and this so they can finally sit down and be happy. And the Fijian guy goes, why don't you sit on the beach right now, dude, and experience it? Why spend the 9 years? Why not have it now? That's my invitation.
The fastest way to fulfillment is to feel like the work you do matters. At the end of the day, everybody is built to serve. I wrote a whole book on it. You are built to serve. You want to feel like today matters, that you're going to wake up and you're going to create something today that will mean something to some people, to someone. Maybe it's 1 million people, maybe it's one person, but you're going to make something that will mean something to somebody. Look at me. I'm sitting here in a parking lot. My wife is shopping at a food store, and I'm sitting here in the car with my dogs passing out on my phone, making a video. Why? Because I feel like this matters. I feel like somebody's going to watch this video and it'll make a difference for them. And hopefully that's you. Maybe not everybody, but at least one person will watch this video and it'll matter and it'll mean something and it'll make a difference. And when I feel that, I'm much more likely to show up. I have more fulfillment. I have more energy. I have more kindness. I have more love. I have more motivation. And when we feel like what we're going to do doesn't matter, makes no difference, nobody cares if we show up or not, that's the path down to anxiety and stress and overwhelm and depression and suicide. This is where most people are at. Most people do not like their lives. Most people feel like what they do does not matter. I think most people wake up and they drive to a job that they hate. And they feel like today it doesn't matter. Nobody cares if I show up or not. The work I'm doing doesn't really have an impact. And that's why a lot of people move towards entrepreneurship, is because we're looking for more fulfillment, because we want to feel like this thing we're going to do is going to make an impact in at least somebody's life. And if you can run some of those things together, you can have a couple days even in a row feeling like this matters. The energy difference that will be inside you, the motivation will change, the kindness will change, how you show up for others will change, how you talk to yourself will change. all because you feel like the work you're doing today matters. They did functional MRIs on people's brains, and I talk about this in Built to Serve. They did functional MRIs on people's brains to see what parts of the brain light up when we're helping people, when we feel like we're going to do something that's even just a small act of kindness. And it lights up the same part of the brain as having food and having sex. Serving others. It's the same part of the brain as having food and having sex. We're hardwired to do it. If you're not happy right now, it's because you feel like you're not serving, that you don't matter. You might be doing stuff that matters, but you feel like it doesn't matter. This is where I get stuck on goals. People say, well, what are your next goals? I don't know, 5 million subscribers, 10 million subscribers. It doesn't mean anything. What does that mean? It's more the qualitative stuff that means the most to me. It's the comments that you guys leave on the videos. It's the people that come up to me at events and tell me how much the content has had an impact on their lives. Like, that's the juice. That's why we do what we do. And of course you have to get numbers, and of course you have to drive revenue, and of course you have to, like, all of that matters, because in making money, it allows you to go and create more and serve more and help more, you know, and build a better life for yourself as well. Money is definitely important. It's got to be in your top 5, but it can't be number 1. And number 1 is feeling that you're on a mission and that you're going to make something today that will matter. So how do we do it? Again, I go through the process and Built to Serve, but basically 3 steps. It's who, I, how. So who is your single most important core value? And if you had to guess, what is your most important core value? What do you stand for as a human being? For me, it's belief. So I want to spread belief everywhere that I go. In this video, my intention is to spread belief. I want to believe more in myself, and I am hoping that you believe more in yourself as a result of being around the stuff that I make. I don't always accomplish it, but it's the intention. It's the goal always going in. And whatever your most important core value is, that's what you still need more for yourself. It's your biggest roadblock right now. And it's also the gift that you want to give to the world, to the people around you. You want to help them feel X as well. So for me, it's believe. What is it for you? Step 2 is your why, and your why is your purpose, and your purpose comes from your pain. So whatever you struggled the most with is the thing you want to help other people through. So I struggled so much as an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur, 19-year-old Evan, quit on my business partner, didn't think I was adding any value, no contribution, not getting any results, working my face off but just getting 0 results, no traction, and I hated it. So I quit on my business partner. I went back the next day, but that was man, the worst day of my life. And my why is to help other entrepreneurs not struggle as much as I did. Whatever you struggled with the most is a gift, because you're going to help other people not struggle as much as you did. And that will make you feel amazing forever. We all love helping, right? Back to the functional MRIs. You love helping. You love assisting. You'll buy the coffee for the person behind you in line, or you'll open the door for somebody, or you'll help somebody pack their car with groceries, or help somebody up who fell on the street or something. Like, you'll do that. It'll feel good. But that's a little momentary thing, versus if you felt like there's somebody who you're helping who is a younger version of you, you see you in that person, and you help them come alive. By talking to you, by spending 5 minutes with you, you see hope light up in their eyes that, wow, maybe I don't have to stay stuck. Maybe I don't have to struggle and suffer as much as I am because they met you. Man, that's a totally different vibe and feeling. That's the thing to get addicted to. Get addicted to serving. Get addicted to helping. Get addicted to impacting. You know? What a difference it makes. And so figuring out your why becomes really important, because we'll often just find ways to try to find any kind of meaning without ever having done the deepest work. And as entrepreneurs, we struggle to often looking back. I don't want to think about my most painful moment. That was in the past. I don't want to touch that. I want to be happy and optimistic and move forward. Well, this is how you do it, right? The point of looking back at your most painful moment is not to live there. It's to say there's lots of people who right now currently are struggling with the thing that you struggled with before, and you can help them. And you'll light up. You'll be the greatest thing of all time to help those people. So first is your who, your most important core value. Second is your why, which is your purpose. And the third is then your how, and that's your passion. So how do you want to help people? So I want to help people believe in themselves, and especially entrepreneurs, because that's where I struggled the most. But how do I do it? Well, however you came out of the hole that you were in is a teachable thing that you can give to other people. So for me, it was modeling success, and that's it. Who has done this before? and I studied them and I applied that lesson. It was Bill Gates. I applied his lesson to my business and we started having success. Now, what have I done for the past 20 years is teach people how they can model success to the situations in their business or their life to accomplish their goals. So how did you get out of the hole that you were in? What was the thing that you did? And where we get trapped a lot is we love helping people to get the result, but we don't love the process of helping them. So the classic example I use, if you're moving your office, I love helping you as an entrepreneur move to a new office, but I don't want to help you pack boxes and pack up computers, right? So I like the end result of helping you believe in yourself and you've launched your new office, awesome, but I don't like the process that leads up to it. So we're constantly chasing the result, but we don't enjoy the process. Where the number one rule for success is you have to enjoy the process. And so we get trapped in this loop of constantly helping people because we love helping people, we feel good helping people, and we get the result of helping people, but we don't enjoy the process. And so we never get actually great at the thing or world class because we're not enjoying the day-to-day work. And so that becomes the next challenge is however you got out of the hole that you were in is a teachable thing to others, and we have to enjoy the process of doing it so it doesn't feel like work, right? That whole expression of find what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. It's true. You know, I love making videos. How have I done so many videos for so long, so consistently? Because it doesn't feel like work. This isn't work. I would, you know, my wife is in this store here, you know, shopping for food. That feels more like work than sitting here in the car and making a video for you guys. Right? And so there's no right or wrong, you know, for my wife, she'd probably rather be in there than making videos. So for you, what's the process that you actually enjoy that is contributing to other people? So when you can combine all those things, when you can find the thing you love doing that's a service to others, that is helping people who currently are who you used to be, and injecting them with the core value that you've got that you still need even more for yourself, that's when everything starts to shift. So the who, why, how process. Who, your single most important core value. Why, your purpose comes to your pain. And how is your passion, how you actually want to help people with their, you know, through your who and your why. You figure that out, everything gets easier. Everything gets more exciting. Everything gets happier. Everything, you feel more grateful, more confident, more alive, more momentum. You start making more money. It's like you stop fighting the world and you start flowing with it because you want to serve and you've got so much kindness and opportunity inside you that needs to come out, that where you are right now is not where you want to be. It's not where, if you fast forward a year, 2 years, 5 years, you want to be in a better spot, everything wise, health wise, emotional, gratitude, money in your bank account, all of it. And it's possible when you can connect your who, your why, and your how to find the fulfillment that you're after.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching the video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Alright guys, in our top 10 rules for success today, Les Brown reminds us to go all out. And we have to go all out on whatever it is that we want in our life. We have to stand up to ourselves and not let our emotions control us, because we're going to feel things. It's a hard process when we go on this path to finding our deep fulfillment, happiness, and freedom. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. But we have to go all out. We have to say to ourselves, there's nothing more important than this. I'm going to make this happen. No matter how many times I'm defeated, no matter how many times I get hurt, no matter how many times I feel angry, frustrated, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to make it happen. And I'm never going to stop. We have to show that determination. So you have to go all out. But there's nothing more important than you. And you have to see yourself that way. That's where it all starts. Have a great day, everyone.
Well, the brain is organized to reflect everything you know in your life. Your brain is a record of your environment. So it begs the question, does the environment control your thinking, or does your thinking control the environment? So if you wake up every morning and you do the same things and you go to the same places and you see the same people and you react in the same way and you perform the same behaviors, it really is the external environment that's turning on different circuits in your brain, causing you to think equal to everything that you know. And as long as you keep thinking equal to everything you know that's familiar and the same, according to the quantum model, you keep creating more of the same. To change, then, is to think greater than our environment, to think greater than the conditions in our world.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, make new choices.
The hardest part about change is not making the same choice as you did the day before. When you decide to make a different choice, whether it's to change something that you eat or to exercise or to no longer react to certain people or conditions in your life, remember, you're going to feel uncomfortable. Now, that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. That means you're in the unknown. And when you step into the unknown, you're going through dramatic changes in your own personal biology. When you're in that place of uncertainty, that place of unpredictability, that void, that unknown, ask yourself, what thoughts do you want to believe in and fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors would you like to demonstrate that's equal to a vision of the future? Close your eyes and rehearse them. Review every step. No different than an athlete beginning to rehearse what they're about to do. The act of rehearsing it begins to prime your brain to prepare you for that behavior in your future. And then finally, can you teach your body emotionally what that future is going to feel like before it happens? And when you begin to fall into the present moment and marry those intentions with an elevated emotion, your body is believing it's living in that future reality in the present moment, and you're changing your biology from living in your past present reality to living in your future present reality. And your job then is to be able to maintain that modified state of mind and body your entire day. And if you can, get ready, because something unusual is going to happen in your life. It's the law.
Rule number 3, control your emotion.
We may not be able to control everything in our outer world,
Right.
but we certainly can control our inner world. And so it's not so important to not react. I mean, everybody reacts, I react. The question is, how long are you going to react? So if you keep an emotional reaction going on for an extended period of time, you're memorizing that emotion, and your body, as the unconscious mind, is believing it's living in the same past experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The body doesn't know the difference between the real experience that produces the emotion and the emotion that we create by thought alone. So then the emotion then reaffirms the state, and then people start to use the problems and the conditions in their life to keep that emotion going, and I would call that an addiction. So we become addicted to the very life we don't even like. So it's important then for people to realize then, when you have that moment where you have crisis or something breaks down, that you do have control over it, and it's a formula. And it's a skill, and our research shows that you can teach people how to do that. And so then when you're living by some emotion, there'll always be a gap between the way things appear and the way things really are. Emotions alter our perception. And if you act during that time, you'll always say the same thing. I should have never said that. I should have never done that. I should have never thought that. I should have never sent that email. So then shortening your emotional reactions is a level of intelligence then that causes you then to recalibrate. Because most people don't think they have control over that. They'll say, that person did it to me. That circumstance is the reason I am this way. Then I would say, if something in your outer environment is controlling your thoughts and feelings, then you're a victim to your environment.
Yeah.
And yet, how you think and feel creates your outer world. So if you're thinking and feeling equal to everything that's known in your present personal reality, you keep creating more of the same. So to change then is to think and feel greater than the conditions in your environment. And to be able to do that to such a degree then, you're no longer reacting to the same people in the same way. And that takes an effort. It's not easy in the beginning. But once you start practicing, you get better at it. And just like anything else, you start to move through your life with more coherence, and you're less likely to knee-jerk. And if you're less likely to knee-jerk, then you're not in an unconscious program.
Rule number 4, invest in yourself.
I think one of the most important things when we lose sight of our vision is to make time for ourselves. And I think that when you invest in yourself, you invest in your future. Disconnecting from people in your life and places that you have to go and things that you do or things that you own long enough to begin to reignite a vision of how you see yourself or how you see your future, and begin to emotionally embrace that future and change your state of being, allows us to see a whole new landscape. If you've lost sight of your vision, take a moment and remember that vision and begin to emotionally embrace it. And from that state of being, start to think about the things you want to do, the choices you want to make. Write them down. Review the behaviors that you have to demonstrate, your goals and experiences and how it's going to feel. When you do that enough times, you're changing your brain neurologically and you're changing your body genetically. Write down the unconscious thoughts that you have to stay conscious of. Become aware of the choices that you no longer need to make. Review the behaviors and habits you have to change about yourself and become so conscious of them that you won't go unconscious at all during your day. Remember the experiences in your environment that you need to stay away from, whether it's a person or a thing, just for a period of time so that you can keep that vision alive. And most importantly, review those emotions that keep you connected to the past and become so conscious of them and name them when you feel that feeling, that if it's guilt or sadness or pain, the moment you start feeling it and you become conscious of it, that's when you can begin to change. And if you keep doing this over and over again, the unlearning and the relearning, the breaking the habit of the old self and reinventing a new self is going to cause you to arrive at a whole new future. And when you do, this could become your new habit.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5, let go of your past.
You can't go to the future holding on to the biology of your past. Decide what thoughts you can bring to your future. Write them down. Thoughts like, I can't, it's too hard, I'll never change, I'll start tomorrow, what's wrong with me, it's someone else's fault. Decide on what behaviors or actions or unconscious habits you have to change. How do you talk? Do you complain? Do you blame? Do you make excuses? Do you feel sorry for yourself? Just become so conscious of those behaviors that you'll never go unconscious again. And lastly, you have to decide what emotions no longer belong in your future. That means if you want to be wealthy, you can't take lack. If you want to be healthy, you can't take insecurity or fear. You got to begin to condition your body to a new mind. If you do this every single day, your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. Change any one of those things and you change your life. And begin to measure the effects of you it cause. Give it a shot.
Rule number 6, change your personality.
Your personality creates your personal reality. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality who's listening to this little video has created the present personal reality called your life. Which means then, if you wanted to create a new personal reality, a new life, you would have to change your personality. That means you'd have to start thinking about what you've been thinking about and change it. It means you'd have to become aware of your unconscious habits and behaviors and modify them. And you'd have to look at certain emotions that keep you connected to experiences in the past and decide, do these emotions belong in your future? The beauty behind this is that when you begin to change how you think, how you act, and how you feel, you should begin to see changes in your life. And I recommend that you try it out.
Rule number 7, don't live in survival mode.
The majority of our thoughts and feelings are connected to our sexuality, to our victimization, our guilt, our suffering, our shame, our unworthiness, our self-doubt, or our importance, our control, our fear, our anger, our frustration, our hatred, our judgment. Those are the first 3 hormonal centers in the body. And those first 3 centers have everything to do with survival. And those centers are energy consumers. Orgasm, digestion, stress is a lot of energy that we're drawing from our very vital life force, our resource of light and information, and we're turning it into chemistry, and we're literally robbing the body's energy, right? So then living like that for the short term is okay, because the body can move back to homeostasis, it can restore itself, but when we're overdoing that consistently, then there's no energy for growth and repair, because you're living constantly in survival. So again, you can eat all the right food, you can do all the right things, but if you're living in anxiety and fear and you're viewing your world from the worst case scenario that could possibly happen, because that's what you do in survival, there's no energy for growth and repair. There's no energy for healing. So the majority of our thoughts are signaling certain circuits in the brain that signal another part of the brain, the limbic brain, to make what's called a neuropeptide. Neuropeptides are chemical messengers that signal hormonal centers. So now you're taking thought and you're storing it as energy in these energy centers. And if you're living in survival, why would you open your heart? It's just not a time to open your heart. I mean, if you're getting chased by T-Rex, it's not a time to meditate. It's not a time to learn. It's not a time to connect. It's not a time to communicate. It's not a time to sit down and go within. It's not a time to be vulnerable. It's time to run, fight, or hide.
Rule number 8, break bad habits.
To change is to be greater than your environment. That means to be greater than the conditions in your life, to be greater than the circumstances in your world. And every great person in history knew this. That means you have to be defined by a vision of the future instead of the memories of the past. To change means to be greater than your body. Those unconscious habits and behaviors and choices that you've made over and over again so many times that the body becomes the mind. Emotions that are connected to past experiences keep you anchored emotionally to the past, and if those emotions are driving your thoughts, and those thoughts are creating the same emotions, then your body has become the mind, which means that in order for you to change, you're going to have to get greater than those emotional reactions, habits, and hardwired attitudes that keep you running unconscious programs. And to change then is to be greater than time. If you're waking up every single day and making the same choices and demonstrating the same behaviors and creating the same experiences, and you do that over and over again, it makes sense that your past is going to look a lot like your future, and your future will be more of your past. Finding the sweet spot of the generous present moment, existing in that place where you're no longer trying to predict the future based on the past, means you're in the unknown. And when you're in that place called the eternal present moment, that's where all possibilities exist. Give it a try.
Rule number 9, stay present.
Think about this. If you spend the majority of your day focusing on matter, focusing on everything in this three-dimensional world that's made of material things, it begs the question, how much of your time and your attention do you put on that unified field, that invisible field of information that exists beyond space and time? And just like when you're unaware of your nose, it doesn't exist, and the moment you become aware of it, it exists. The quantum field is exactly the same way. If you put very little attention on it in your waking day, then it doesn't exist for you. But the moment you begin to become aware of it, The moment you begin to pay attention to it, the moment you begin to stay present with it and to experience it moment after moment, and if where you place your attention, as you learned, is where you place your energy, and where you place your attention causes things to expand, the moment you begin to experience it, not with your senses, you experience this three-dimensional reality with your senses, but you experience it with your consciousness and with your awareness. The moment you become pure consciousness is the moment you make contact with that unified field. And so we now know the techniques and the tools to get people beyond themselves. And in fact, we know that after thousands and thousands and thousands of brain scans, that you're at your absolute best when you get beyond yourself. When you take your attention off your body, when you take your attention off your identity that's connected to people in your life, the things you own, objects you own, places you have to go, and time itself. The moment you become nobody, no one, no thing, no where, and no time, that is the moment you become pure consciousness. And that's the moment you begin to connect to that field of possibilities called the unified field or the quantum field. And that field is a visible field of information that exists beyond this space and time. And independent of the color of your skin, your gender, your diet, your sexual preference, independent of your profession, your class, independent of all those things that create separation, that every human being has access to it.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is live by example.
I always tell my advancing students, you know when you're changing is when you stop talking about it. Because when you are truly changing, you can't go to church and shake hands and say peace be with you and then get in your car and cut everybody off on the way out of the parking lot. You can't say I don't like the war in Iraq and be arguing with your next door neighbor or your coworker. You have to be the living example of everything you want to see in the world in terms of change. If you don't like greed, start giving. You know, you have to demonstrate it. And when you do, you give people permission to do the same, because they're going to observe you doing exactly what they're afraid to do, but they know it's the right thing to do. So the way we transform the world is we transform ourselves. The way you transform a culture is you transform an individual. And individual by individual, when we stop looking outside of us and we say, that world is a reflection of some aspect of me, if everybody in the world did that simultaneously, imagine how the world would change. And it's not enough to just focus on peace. Yeah, there's been great studies that have shown that when a community of people focus on peace, that the crime rates drop. But when they leave, and the research is over, the crime rates return back to the ceiling value. It's not enough to just think it, you gotta demonstrate it. You gotta show it in all areas of your life. And when you demonstrate it now, it becomes an example for people to follow.
Morning, guys. As we live, laugh, and love our way to this path of infinite mind wealth, I want to share with you my personal story of what's happening every single day I'm working on this, and I hope this helps you. I am becoming more and more grateful and just feel so blessed for being on this path. I'm realizing that all my friends, family, colleagues, people I've worked with, all the human beings I've ever interacted with, they're the ones that have given me this opportunity. I am so grateful for them. And I'm starting to also appreciate deeply some of the greatest thinkers that I'm learning about who have come and gone. They're no longer here, but their energy lives on in the effect that it's having on me and has had on me. And I think to myself, wow, it's amazing how no matter what, whether we're here or not, we have such an impact on each other and we need each other. And so I'm reminded of that every day, and I'm becoming more and more reverent. And I just wanted to share that with you. Have a great day, everyone.
If it's not on the calendar, it won't get done. it's not really a priority, right? You have to make sure that it's in your plan, it's in your day. So I'm gonna show you quickly what my calendar and schedule look like. That is my life this month. As you can see, it's color-coded, it's beautifully designed. And as I flick through this, what you'll realize is that every single day I have everything from workout time to meal times to scheduled off time all in my calendar. What this allows me to do is it helps me prioritize both personal and professional commitments and helps me see both things in the same place. If you haven't put something in your calendar, even if it's something social, I promise you, you'll either forget it or you won't plan effectively around it. When I know I have a really big podcast or a really big interview, or if I know that I have a big deadline on a day, I don't then surround that day with other difficult and challenging tasks. Sometimes I'll start my day with the most challenging task of the day because I feel that I need to start with a challenge. And sometimes I'll actually put it as the last most challenging task of the day because actually I want to build that momentum. When you have a schedule, you get context around how you feel. That way you manage your mental health and well-being a million times better and you do more with less time.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Jay Shetty, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Rule number 2, focus on your breath.
A lot of us feel physical and mental pressure throughout the day. And one of the reasons why we feel that is because either our mind is ahead of our body or our body is ahead of our mind. So I'll explain what I mean by that.
I like that.
So often, how many times have you had it? Anyone who's listening right now, I'm sure you can relate. How many times have you had it where you're running to your next meeting, so your body's moving really fast, but your mind's going, I wish we were still in bed, right? Your mind is still tired. Your mind's still feeling fatigued from the day before or whatever it may be. And sometimes we have it the other way around. Your mind's racing. It's saying, okay, we got this to-do list, and now we got this to do, and now we got this to do. And your body's going, ugh, why can't it just be Friday already? Why can't it be the weekend? Because your body's tired. So what we generally experience in our life is either our body's ahead of our mind or our mind's ahead of our body. And that creates friction. That's a disconnect in our life. And we were just talking about this, that we feel alignment when what we think, what we say, and what we do, that's when we feel harmony.
Right.
So the way to do that, one really practical tip, I do it all the time, especially when I'm rushing onto stage to speak at a conference or I'm walking into a meeting and it's been a long day or whatever it is, I focus on my breath. And what I do is that I breathe in for the same amount of time as I breathe out. So when you breathe in for a count of 4 and breathe out for a mental count of 4, and you imagine the numbers in your head. So you want to breathe in and count to 4 in your mind, and you want to breathe out and count to 4 in your mind. You're aligning your mind and your body, because now your breath is breathing in for 4, the counts in your head, and then you're breathing out for 4 and the counts in your head. So what you've basically done is taken either your body and your mind, whichever one was ahead or behind, and brought them back in alignment.
And they're back in sync.
Totally back in sync. And it works every time.
Rule number 3, use fear in a positive way.
I realized that fear could be healthy or unhealthy based on how I used it. And most of us don't realize that we get consumed by fear instead of using fear. So fear becomes our being, in the sense that fear becomes what controls us. It tells us what we should do and what we shouldn't do. It tells us how we should think and we shouldn't think. It stops us from doing stuff that's really important to us. And it makes us do things that we would never ever do. It makes us say things to people that we love that we would never want to say to them. And on the other end, it stops you from saying things you really want to say to someone because you don't want to appear weak. And your ego won't let you. So fear takes this really magnetic controlling effect on our whole lives. But fear at the same time can be one of the healthiest things because it's basically giving you a signal as to what's important. It's basically giving you as a signal as to how you feel. And when you use it as a signal, not as a suggestion or a push, it changes everything. So let's make that practical. When you are in your home and if the fire alarm goes off, that gives you a signal to say, check for the fire, check if there's a fire, right? Now, if you go, oh, just turn it off, it doesn't matter. Let's avoid my fear. Let's avoid it. Let's just turn it off. Let's forget about it. Your house could burn down. Or if you're lucky, there was nothing and it's fine. But the odds are that there could be a fire. Now, if you're someone who goes, well, let me inspect it. Let me be curious about that. I am scared that there's a fire in my house now that I've heard the fire alarm, but let me be curious. Let me inspect. Let me check. Imagine we approached our fear in that way. Imagine every time I felt scared of something, I said, well, let me get curious about this. Why am I scared of this? Why is it affecting me so much? What about this scares me? Is it all of it? Or is it just a part of it? When you start doing it, you start to break that fear down. And that's the healthy way of looking at fear rather than the unhealthy way of saying, forget about it, keep it away from me. I don't want to go there. And so for me, I really feel that fear is what blocks us from these beautiful breakthroughs in life. And it has such a chokehold on us, like it has such a strong hold on us. And I think most of us are living our lives because we're scared of what someone will say, what someone will think, or what someone will do. And that feels like something that we're going to regret when we're at the end of our lives.
Rule number 4, let go of your phone.
Usually during that quality time with Radhi, I'm not on my phone, I'm not on my devices, but it's at this point that I finally turn my phone onto airplane mode. I find that this habit is a game changer and a lifesaver at the end of the day because it can be so addictive to just mindlessly scroll through Instagram or TikTok just before you're about to go to bed and literally fill your mind up with so much stimulation that it can be really difficult to switch off. I found that letting go of your phone an hour before you go to bed allows you to have so much more stillness and calm internally and externally. I really believe that if you can master this one habit of not looking at your phone before you go to bed, it will truly change how you feel the next morning.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, use visualization.
One of the reasons why I love this one is everyone from Lewis Hamilton through to David Beckham has used visualization.
Yes.
So Lewis Hamilton would visualize the racetrack
Yes.
before actually driving in a Formula One race. David Beckham would visualize a free kick before taking a shot at a World Cup tournament. And this visualization allows you to deal with the pressure and stress before the actual activity.
Ooh.
What it does is it allows you to fast forward. It's almost like time dilation. You're fast forwarding an experience and bringing it to the present where you're not experiencing that pressure and stress.
Right.
So that you can engage with it better. So if you're scared, for example, if you've got a really big meeting or a big pitch coming up, if you live that meeting and visualize that meeting now and visualize yourself walking in with confidence, visualize yourself not falling over on the stage,
Right.
visualize yourself starting that first word that you say with composure, with eloquence, with effectiveness, then when you actually walk into that space tomorrow, you're going to carry that energy with you. And this is one of the biggest mistakes we make, that we stress before,
Right.
but we don't prepare before. And so visualizing what's about to come
Reduces the stress.
reduces the stress because it lets you deal with it now and it lets you plant thoughts and energy into the future. And that's really what a visualization is doing.
Right.
It's letting you plant the energy of feeling composed and relaxed now into that feeling. So what I do before I'm about to go on stage, I always visualize myself walking on the stage. And I do that to make myself feel comfortable and reminding myself I'm not going to trip on stage, which we all fear as speakers. And it allows me to feel confident before I walk on. So
Right.
visualizing any experience, a meeting, a lecture, an exam, whatever it may be, a test, whatever it is you're doing.
And it's like mental rehearsal.
Totally. That's all it is.
The mind doesn't know the difference between something you vividly imagine and something that's real. And most people could use that superpower, if you will, for something negative, like visualizing something they fear was going to happen. And then they're actually practicing that in advance also.
Totally. Yeah. And that's what we mostly do. We mostly mentally rehearse what could go wrong.
Right.
So we mentally rehearse tripping up on going on.
Why would
the
you do
stage.
that?
We do that because we think dwelling on our stress and pressure helps deal with it.
Right.
But it doesn't. Dwelling on anything increases it.
Yes.
So the only way to deal with it is to reprogram ourselves. You've just been speaking about this, to reprogram ourselves to deal with it how we want in the aspirational sense.
Rule number 6, know when to quit.
I, from a very young age, just felt there was this strong inner voice. And I believe everyone has it. This isn't me being religious or spiritual or woo-woo. This is me saying that there is a voice that we all hear in our minds, in our hearts, in our heads, wherever you want to say it is, it's there. And the challenge that happens is in our early years, you're told to tell it to be quiet. So every time that voice says, well, maybe, no, just do what they're saying, do what they're told, get on that conveyor belt, get on that assembly line, stick that barcode on your back, become a machine, go be a robot. And it's almost programmed. And so that voice that is not machine-like, that voice is the human inside of us, is being trained to be a machine. And so we start treating ourselves like machines. And machines, you just program them and then press enter and then it gives you what it wants. But we don't function that way. We're a conversation in the universe. We're not a program. And so if you're a conversation and you're an interaction, you're dynamic, that inner voice becomes so squashed that now by the time we're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever age you are, you can't hear it anymore. So you say, oh, that's some spiritual mumbo jumbo stuff because I don't hear that voice.
Rule number 7, keep a journal.
This is probably one of the highlights of my evening is taking out my 5-minute journal, the Genius Jay Shetty version, and filling out the rest of the reflections for the day. I found that this is one of the most calming and centering moments of my day because it gives me an opportunity to appreciate what I have, to remember the incredible moments that have happened throughout my day. See, we have so many highlights in our lives that we forget simply because we don't take a moment to allow them to go inward. For me, this is like taking a mental and emotional picture of a moment that I never want to forget. And as you can see, today I had the pleasure of interviewing Jocko Willink, who fascinated me with so many insights, Guy Raz from how I built this, and then finally, just getting to spend so much quality time with my team. I purposely try to do this in a separate space, in an area that has that grounded energy. Remember, time has memory and location has energy. When you do something in the same space every day, it builds a habit, it builds an energy, it builds a space. And so for me, creating that environment that helps me be reflective and introspective and grateful is really a big part of it. Now, you may have heard about something known as decision fatigue. I first came across this concept when reading The Organized Mind by Daniel Levitin. It's the idea that we make so many decisions first thing when we wake up in the morning that we run out of energy to make the most important decisions of the day. So usually when we wake up, we're trying to figure out, what do I have for breakfast? What am I going to wear today? What do I have to do today? What task do I have to finish today? And then by the time you start the tasks, you've already run out of energy.
Rule number 8, set monthly goals.
How many of you feel like the months are just passing by? And it's crazy to believe that we're over a quarter of the way through the year. But this is what happens when we don't have really clear goals, targets, and tasks. This approach has really helped me manage my time better. I have big monthly goals, I have 4 weekly targets, and I have 1 daily task. The 1 daily task is the baby step towards the weekly target, and the weekly target added up, all 4 of them, leads to the big monthly goal. So what you're doing here in essence is breaking down something that feels quite unachievable, impossible to do, and quite challenging into small, manageable chunks. Sometimes you can be sitting there thinking, wow, I don't know how I'm gonna get that done by the end of this month. If you've ever felt that way, use this model. First, come up with how can you break that big goal down into 4 separate tasks? Once you have these 4 weekly targets, now all you need to do is divide each weekly target into a daily task. So basically, you end up working on something daily that you achieve weekly, which helps you achieve something monthly. Now you've completely deconstructed this impossible, unachievable idea into something very simple and manageable.
Rule number 9, schedule time for you.
The first thing you want to do is put something in your schedule, in your calendar, which is time for you. If you look at your schedule, you would never cancel an important meeting with someone else, but we don't even schedule one with ourselves. There is nothing in the calendar that's time with myself, time for me, time for you, time for just this whole thing that's going on right now. Literally put it in for 5 minutes a day. If you can't do 5 minutes, do it for 2 minutes a day. Just put it in there, because if you start putting that in there, you might then tomorrow go, okay, well, what am I going to do with this time? I've got 5 minutes. Wow, okay, what am I going to do with it? So start putting it in there. That's the first step. The second step, I would say, is definitely focus on your breath. I think the breath is just something we can all relate to. It's tangible. By the way, athletes have to learn how to control their breath. Musicians have to learn how to control their breath. Whether you're Adele or whether you're a football player, you have to learn how to breathe in order to perform. Me, you, and everyone, we're all athletes in different ways. We all use our bodies. We all use our minds, whether you're a business person or whether you're an actual athlete playing on a court or a pitch.
But are you saying that I don't know how to breathe?
I am saying you don't know how to breathe. Yeah, and not you specifically. I'm saying that most people don't know how to breathe. And I didn't know how to breathe until I was taught how to breathe. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but how many times a day do you get out of breath? I know there's times of the day that I get out of breath. How many times of the day do you feel that when you're experiencing an emotion, your breath changes? Like when you're crying or you're sad or you're upset, your breath changes. When you're happy and elated, your breath changes. So our breath is connected to every single emotion. So if we want to navigate our emotions in our life, we have to train our breath. So I would just say to everyone, take out 2 to 3 minutes and just take a moment to breathe in and out, and breathe in for 4 and out for 4. Just try it as simply as that. Now, if you're someone who struggles to get to sleep, which can often be something that I think everyone struggles with, that's when you want to breathe out for longer than you breathe in. So if you're breathing in for 4, breathe out for more than 4 to relax and rest your body. And if you're one of these people that goes, Jay, I've got, like you said, I've got to do a delivery today, I've got to run to this meeting, I've got to get to this, and you need more energy, breathe out for less time than you breathe in. So you may breathe in for a second and breathe out for a millisecond. It's a really sharp breath out. And if you do that, you'll feel this pumping energy in your body. And so to me, these are really practical tools that I think we all need to sleep. So everyone knows their meditation for sleep. We all need to get energized. So that's a simple meditation for energized. And we all need to just feel like we're not rushing.
Yeah.
So I think those are hopefully quick things that feel practical to anyone and everyone.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is set your intention.
The penultimate thing that I do just before I go to bed is to pray and set my intention. This prayer usually involves thanking God, thanking my teachers, thanking my mentors. And it also is a prayer of wanting to be of service, of resetting my intention to not be distracted from wanting to serve, to have a positive impact on others, to be kind and loving, and to be an ambassador of compassion in everything I do. I often repeat the affirmations just before I go to bed to help me rest better. They are, I am happy, healthy, and focused. This is how I'm trying to program my mind the night before for how I want to wake up the next morning. Remember, when you set an alarm, you set it the night before so that it wakes you up in the morning. You also program your mind in the same way. You set the intention or the affirmation the night before, and you wake up with that energy. I'll sometimes add the affirmation, I am energized, nourished, and ready to get on with my day. I want to wake up feeling that way, and often when we wake up, the first thing we say to ourselves is, I'm tired, groggy, or drained. So we're programming ourselves to feel a certain way and helping our subconscious mind prepare itself.